This is probably the dumbest thing I've ever done, but I lost my boat. This launch is really tricky because it's so shallow that I had to back my truck in to where the water is basically past the doors. So I was trying to be quick. I was trying to just get it off the trailer slightly so that I could then push it, but I misjudged on how deep the water actually was, and I therefore sent my boat out into the lake. Spoiler alert, I got my boat back. I did have to go swimming. I didn't film it because, well, I had to strip down to my underwear, and I don't really want anybody to see that. Today, the goal is topwater bass on frogs, maybe a couple other secret lures. So that's where I just launched, and right off the bat here, I'm gonna throw it on the trolling motor and we are gonna start fishing because this whole area behind me here is bass territory. Well, the whole lake is just bass territory. And fingers crossed today for a topwater bite. We've got perfect conditions for it. And yeah, we're just gonna patrol the pads here and hopefully find some fish up shallow. The water level is very high, so like up here, I've got some undercut banks to fish. And yeah, just a lot of cool habitat here to hopefully catch some fish out of. There's no reason why these fish shouldn't be eating topwater. It's just the finding what kind of habitat these fish are going to be in, whether they're going to be out in this open stuff because there's still pretty dense weeds out here, or if they're going to be up in the bank, if they're going to be up in the thick reeds. And that's really gonna there's one first fish. As I was talking about where these fish are going to hang, this one's off a little bit more deep edge, and it's not a bad fish to start off with. Cool. Well, that did not take long. That is not very, I mean, that's not a giant fish by any means. There's bigger fish in here, but that was like 5 minutes into fishing, if that. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this fish back and get some more. We're not even at the best part of this weed edge yet, so I'm gonna continue on here and catch some more bass. So things haven't been like as hot as I thought they were gonna be, especially with catching that fish right away. So instead of just kind of picking apart this open area, I'm gonna fish it really, really fast and just see if there's even fish here. So I'm gonna switch to a straight reel frog. I accidentally took this with me from Sweden, so Pontus, if you're watching, I'm sorry for stealing your frog, but we're gonna see if we can catch some bass in America. Oh, I just missed one. Oh, he came back. Got him. That was a very light hit. All right. Finally. It's kind of turned into a little bit of a struggle to get these guys to well, not to bite, but just to find him. But still a little lost, but we got plenty of the day left to figure these fish out. Oh, here we go. Oh. And get him to go again. Got him. There's a better fish. Oh my God, that was sick. That fish waked on it, missed it, so I pitched back in there and paused it right in that small open spot, and he absolutely just pulled it under, and I gave him the business. That's the biggest fish today. Hopefully, I mean, this is a huge area, but I think I know what these fish are relating to. I'm gonna get them back in the water. So there's two things that I did right here that helped me catch that fish. Number one is I set up a second rod, which I normally don't do when I'm frog fishing, but in a case like this where I'm fishing open spaces and I'm fishing thick spaces, what I have is I have a rod to cover water with. So this is a prop frog that trails through the water, makes a lot of commotion, and I can just basically straight reel it back to the boat, cover a lot of water. And then I have a twitch frog on this second rod, which is a little light to be using for a frog setup, but it worked. behind me, there's actually cover that's actually so dense that it's coming out of the water. This happens a lot on some of these lakes up north in Minnesota where you get like these, they almost look like pine cones, but they are on the surface of the water, and it's really just thick, dense cover, and that's what that fish was on. He came right off it, very aggressive. I'm kind of getting a better idea where I can expect to find fish, and luckily for me, there's a couple other places on this lake with similar cover to that, a few of which are right next to me. So we're gonna keep fishing here and hopefully put in some more fish. There's another one. He waked up on it and he literally just pulled it under the water. He didn't even splash. It's just like I said. Wow, what a pretty bass. That is a very pretty fish. That was literally like 2 casts after I just mentioned that I think these fish are going to be relating to this really dense cover that's coming out of the water. And that is another absolutely pretty bass. Just a gorgeous fish. Just the coloration on these northern Minnesota bass is really, really awesome. Go. Finally got one out in the open. Man, look at how yellow these things are. Finally got one out in the open. The fish are being really aggressive, as you can tell. It was really just really spread out. Another just really pretty bass. That one finally, I got one to eat kind of out on that edge. I see him. I see this fish right now. Oh, he's coming back. He's gonna eat it. Got him. That was so cool. I watched that fish eat. I watched that fish eat. I watched that fish eat. It was sitting there. As soon as that frog got in the vicinity, he came back over and absolutely lunched it. That's actually a normal colored largemouth. That's a better fish. That's a better fish. Finally, that's a good one. I just put the drone up too. That is sick. Oh yeah, easy. All right, there is my biggest fish of the day so far. That's probably like a 3-pounder maybe. And I just put the drone up and she freaking crushed it first cast. Jeez, that was a hard hit. That fish literally blew up on it. All right, smaller fish, get him back, get back at it. It's a routine. Right off that beaver dam. I always catch a bass off this beaver hut. I've got a special connection to this beaver hut that you can see in the background here. I always seem to catch a bass like the first cast they take on it, but this frog is like on its last leg. Another beautiful Northwoods largemouth bass on topwater. Got the strike on slow motion. Just freaking cool. Missed it 3 times. It's a big fish too. Oh, it's a big one. It's a big one. It's decent. I think he got it hooked funny actually. That might be the biggest of the day now. That was so sick. That fish hit like 4 times. Just kept just bumping it, and then finally he just took it under and I gave him the business. What a beautiful largemouth. I'm on the other end of the lake now, and we are in crazy thick weeds right now. That fish was out in the open, but that's what he brought with. This frog has been an absolute workhorse today. Just sandpapered up by the mouth of these bass, but she's back to normal, ready to catch some more fish. Well, the air quality is just awful out here, and it's really not making me feel the greatest. Plus, I have to buy groceries. I haven't eaten like at all today. I'm really hungry. So I'm calling it a day. I'm gonna say that we did pretty dang good on the water today. It started off slow, but we found out where the fish were hanging. We hit some spots that had similarities to those spots where I caught those first few fish, and it paid off. We caught quite a few fish today and a couple of decent ones. Got some cool footage, I think. So we're gonna pack it up and head home. But I will be heading back out very, very soon, which means there is another video on its way out to you guys. So stay tuned, and I'll see you guys next time.